As 2020 has begun, the overarching theme so far has been meaning. My name, Jasiri, means to be fearless. The idea behind Jasiriously Speaking is to spotlight individuals who, in spite of feeling fear, rise to the occasion of pursuing their greatest purpose. This purpose is intrinsically tied to the people, things, and ideas by which we become impassioned. And this passion is a key indicator that we are on the right track. The late and great Kobe Bryant, who had a sheer passion for excellence, defined this as the Mamba mentality. As we continue in 2020, my hope is that you will be inspired by the guests on Jasiriously Speaking and find a truth in their experiences that motivate you to keep moving forward. I welcome you to be relentless in your pursuit of meaning behind the things you experience, not so that you can be discouraged, but instead so that you can use the understanding of these happenings to be encouraged, to continue to take the small, consistent steps required to build the momentum that is going to catapult you into the future you envision for yourself. So, without further ado, this is Jasiriously Speaking. Whoever said age is a hindrance to success lied. And today's guest is a prime example of the happiness that is found in constantly renewing yourself. Mother, daughter, sister, and friend, Debra Johnson keeps a smile on her face and encourages you to do the same. With her new podcast, Sharing the Smile and the Spirit of 60, and a fearless relocation to the motherland, Ghana, Debra is a shining example that the heart of a person does not age. I welcome to the studio, Miss Debra Johnson. Thank you so much for coming and joining me today.
And just seriously, I am honored. I just love your energy and your smile.
Oh.
That's what attracts me, but I'm just so happy to be your guest.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so, speaking of a smile, we call you the Smile Lady. And so tell us more about your smile.
Well, my smile came out of a whole lot of pain. In 1992, with the Rodney King incident, I just knew there was something I can do. I couldn't march on Washington like Martin Luther King or this, but I knew that thing, bloom where you are planted. What is your gift and what you like to do? And basically when I saw somebody with attitude all over their desk, I asked her, because she was such an awesome person, what is that for? She says, I have to remind myself to check my attitude every day. So I said, wow, that's interesting. Then the smile concept came up.
Okay.
And so it was published in the Pasadena Journal in 1993, journal, if you want to look that up. But the SMILE is an acronym. It's not because everything is funny and I'm happy all the time, because just because I'm smiling, everything ain't funny.
Yes, and we're human.
Yes, and so the S is support, which is the color yellow. I teach in colors. The M is motivate. Don't hate, and the support in the beginning is it takes a whole village. Then the I is invest, and it's not necessarily money. I'm not really money motivated.
Yes.
But people motivated. Give your time, your gift. Then the L is love, and that's agape.
Yes.
Agape. I'm talking the love, the unlovable, and that's the
Yes.
glue that holds a smile together, and that's red or orange. And then the E is educate, and basically, Frederick Douglass, knowledge is power, and it gives you more choices and freedom when you get that education. So you put that together and a smile, spread a little joy,
Right.
And that's helping your child tap into their purpose, because I believe everybody was born to smile, everyone.
Yes.
On this earth, whether it's 1 second they're here or 102, they're born to smile. They made an impact and a change, and then it's up to us to do it and bridge that gap between the elders and the youth.
Beautiful. So you have the Sharing the Smile podcast. Where did you get the inspiration for Share the Smile, the actual podcast?
Well, Sharing the Smile, I got that from here, Pasadena Media. They started out that, and I knew theater is my main thing.
Yeah.
I'd rather get a boo from an audience than just to be talking to the one eye.
Right.
Because you don't know the reaction until later. At least with theater, it's like immediate. So all of this setting up and this and director, and that wasn't me. And so when they came up with the radio video version of a podcast, I said, oh my gosh, that's real. You're like having a conversation.
Yeah.
It wasn't more like a showcase here.
Right.
And you could get that same message across. So the idea came, I heard it before, but when they started it here at Pasadena Media, you know, Sharing a Smile, I went with it. And the first time Jared, who was our instructor, I said, I love it. I'm in love.
Yes.
Just like I did when I went to Africa the first time. I'm in love.
And you just knew.
I just knew that was going to be my platform from now on, because here with Pasadena Media, what's good about it is video option and audio option.
Right. Yes. So you mentioned bridging the gap between the elders and the youth, which I think personally is very important, and I'm glad you're focusing on it. But why do you feel that it's necessary?
Number one, I didn't have grandparents. And I think that was a big gap missing in my life. I truly believe in a 3-generation household or neighborhood where grandma's right here, your parents, and that generation can help. And I believe that that middle gap will be really, really, really stronger. My mother was a baby girl of over 23 births, sharecropper. So I'm first generation out of slavery.
Wow.
So by the time I was born, her kids were born, they were too old. They're gone.
Yes.
And then, you know, my dad, you know, he passed away 2011. He was like 8 years older than her, and his parents didn't have them. And I think I was one of the few that didn't have grandparents. Some of them didn't have parents because they were in jail or whatever, but they did at least have
grandparents.
the grandparents.
Yes.
I never experienced that.
Right.
And I believe that them imparting that wisdom, like in the African culture I read, they will entrust the youngest member of the child to the oldest. So the oldest stay young, and the younger absorbs that wisdom.
Got it.
And then it just trades off until, you know, that's it. And I think we're missing that.
Yeah.
We throw our elders in the senior home or whatever, and we need to bridge that gap. I would say adopt a grandparent from a senior home if you don't have that.
Yeah.
Just to impart that wisdom.
So speaking of that, you know, you just said adopt a grandparent, and you given the example of what they do in Africa. How do you plan to help bridge that gap with the youth that you encounter as an elder?
Well, I am an elder, so that's kind of bridging the gap.
Yes.
You know, being a senior. But what I noticed in when I went to Ghana, this will be my 3rd trip, but you know, my retirement home, is they don't have nursing homes, they don't have the senior centers, anything. The elders, even if they don't have a family, is embraced by the village.
Wow.
And if you know they can't take care of them, that's it. They don't have to worry about anything. And I was treated like royalty. I think if I would have gone younger, I wouldn't have had this joy. But I'm happy to say I'm old.
Right.
I said, do you see, hey, you're doing one of these numbers, you know. But even the little ones, I drop something, they come and pick it up. That's unheard of here.
Yes.
They look at you and say, you pick it up yourself. You know, it's a whole different culture. It's 5-star treatment in this area where they're so poor.
Yes.
But you get 5-star treatment. Especially in Ghana.
Yes.
They say Ghana is one of the friendliest and the most welcoming. I don't know. That's the only country out of the 54
that you've been to. Yeah. So, it sounds completely like Ghana has already totally infiltrated you.
Yes.
And just taught you so much.
Yes.
What led up to you deciding to even travel to Ghana? Tell us the story.
Well, this is only a 30-minute show right now.
Yes. So I'll keep it short and sweet. But
all my life I went to, we were so poor. I was raised in Cleveland, even though I was born in New York, Jewish Memorial Hospital, but I was raised in Cleveland and Ohio. And my mother was poor, and she qualified for a lot of programs.
Okay.
So I went, and the exchange was sort of like, I call it a ghetto exchange program, where they take a really poor child, and they lived with rich family for a month, okay? And so when they owned almost a quarter of the town and you couldn't see the end of their property and all of this openness, it did like African art beat drums. And I went home and told my mother, I'm adopted. I don't belong here. So then over a period, people kept saying I looked like I was from Ghana. I did my ancestry DNA in 2016, finally, after the third person said it, and it was Ghana.
Wow.
So I went to Ghana because that's what it said. They updated it, and now it's Cameroon and Ghana, but Ghana is where I fell in love with, and they embraced me. So that's my adopted home.
As you do.
And so I went with a backpack and a prayer, nobody, just by myself.
Yes. And so when you got there, I mean, so you're supposed to, just so everyone knows what I know, you are moving there. You are building a home there. You have decided to plant yourself there.
Yes.
So how did you go from just going on a trip with a backpack and a prayer to saying, no, this is where I need to be and continue my life moving forward?
It's a sad and joyful story, and I'm glad I brought my tissue.
Yeah.
Out of my 68 years of life, I've never been treated like that, and they didn't even know me. And then when you get off the plane and it's just pure blackness, black on the money, black on the billboards, black on the TV, on the television, you know, even in the Chinese restaurant, which is unheard of here, black people are cooking in the Chinese restaurants. It was just amazing, and they treat you with open arms and love. And that's even, they don't know I'm a tourist or whatever. They said until I open my mouth, I fit right in.
Yes.
But as soon as they heard me speak, they said, white people.
Oh, wow.
That's the first time I've ever been called white.
Right.
But anyway, it's because of, they associated my accent with white people.
So Americans are associated with, even if you are brown, you are associated as
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And they told me, the ambassador, and I can't pronounce her name, I'm not gonna destroy it.
No worries.
But she said, quit saying you're African American. You're an African born in America.
Interesting.
And she's trying to get it to be one Africa instead of all of these chopped up 54 countries.
Yes.
And if we unite as one Africa, we are the richest continent.
Yes.
And we don't have to leave Africa for anything.
Right.
Anything.
Yeah, they have all the resources that are.
And the only continent that's on all four hemispheres.
Wow.
The only continent. And also, Ghana is so close to the equator. So, and that's where most of the slave trade came out. It started way before 1619.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
But as far as the U.S. slave trade, it was concentrated 1619 to 219 was the year of return.
Okay. Wow. And so did the year of return, you know, the actual coined term, year of return, did that have any effect on you going, or was
No, I was ahead of the game.
Okay, got it.
I was August 20th, if people know their history,
Yes.
1619, 20 survived going into Virginia. Only 20 out of all of those people. And if you think about it, those 20 had to be damn strong. Because all the other ones died.
Yeah.
So we are a product of such a strong lineage, most of us,
Yes.
that's why we survived.
Right.
That's why we survived, because those 20 that made it, they knew. And they didn't go over there picking like little wimpies off the street. No. They went and picked the strongest one.
Yes. Yeah.
Teachers and lawyers and doctors and kings and queens, and stripped them down.
Yeah.
Trust me, we got a fighting, surviving spirit. And I felt that.
Yeah.
I cannot explain the pictures. I'm embarrassed to show because it doesn't show what I felt.
What you felt, yeah. Wow. And that's so beautiful. I appreciate you sharing that. The woman that you met was saying she thinks that we are Africans born in America, because I know that a lot of Black people in America have an issue with even identifying as African Americans, where, you know, oftentimes we're Black Americans, and that gives a certain connotation. So it's really nice to hear that there is a welcoming spirit of Black people from America to come home to Ghana.
That's what they say, come home. We want you home. And here's another thing a lot of people don't know. And Trump may even be mad when he find out. He probably know he has a high IQ. But that intelligent quotient doesn't seem to cross. But every single being in this world, period, quote me, has African DNA. Period. Period.
Yeah.
Closer you are to the equator or this and any other, depends your complexion, but everyone. Now the rest of it, you can figure out,
Right.
you know, the strong parts, but in Africa, there's no real way to say where you are because we were one big place.
Yeah, piece
then
of
when they
land.
started cutting it up, that's why they come back and adjust where you're from. So you can get a general area, but you can't really, you know, Ghana just happens to be, everybody looked at me and said, you from Ghana, you from Ghana? So I said, okay. Then when I did the DNA, it confirmed.
It confirmed it. Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So, just gonna switch gears a little bit. Let's talk more about age. You
Okay.
being an elder. You are part of the podcast with Peggy Kelly.
Spirit of 60.
Yes, Spirit of 60. So where did the inspiration come from with that? Because so many people get to a certain age and they are ready to relax. They are like, I raised my kids, I have married and divorced and remarried and then divorced again and I'm married again. You know, I've worked 20 careers, you know, and I'm tired. I want to just relax. But you seem to have a spirit that continually urges you to redefine yourself. So where does that come from? And that is the spirit of 60, in my opinion. So tell us about that.
You hit it right on the head. And what that came from is Kelly, Peggy Kelly and I started the podcast class together.
Okay.
And what Jared did, which was awesome, he had us count off 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we happened to be matched up together.
Yes.
And so we had to do like a 12-minute podcast series.
Yes.
And so the 2 gray-haired ladies up in there, and all the rest of them are youngsters, and we both had that vision because my book is growing up after 60, after I got my master's, and hers was the sexy 60s. And then we looked at each other and we said, we should do something together.
Right.
And so she came up and adopted and pulled in, she reeled it all in, she's an organizer, said, we should do something in the spirit of 60s. And the whole thing was, you don't have to be old and dowdry, like Doolin's restaurant. Oh my gosh, one of my favorite soul food restaurants. He didn't really start the restaurant business until he was 65.
Oh, wow.
The same time I went to Ghana. So he took all of his investments and he did what he loved to do. He said he started a few restaurants, Mimi's and then his hamburger joint, and it failed. And then he finally hit the jackpot with Doolin's. The rest is history, about 25 years.
Wow.
And he trained his children so well, you wouldn't even know he's dead. Everything is just
Still the same.
Awesome.
Yes.
Usually businesses fail when you die.
Right.
But there's invisible transition. And that's, I'm building a legacy now. I have a funding that I want to come through. And I basically put it out there. I'm a grandmother that wants to build a legacy home for my grandchildren.
Yes, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. And it's so interesting because oftentimes with businesses and with passions, especially nowadays with the way that young people are, we think, oh, we got to make it at 30, we got to make it at 40. And when we actually look at a lot of the people who have made it, it actually was later on in life when they had failures and successes and things go wrong and things go right, to properly learn in order to better teach the next generation to run what's going on.
Well, I think being a grandparent is a do-over. Because the mistakes you make with your children, you get to kind of correct it with the grandchildren. And of course, as a teenager having a baby, 50 years old now, you know, you're not going to treat them the same way you did the baby. My youngest is 35. When you're 31, 32 years old.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have a baby at 32, and then you can have a teenager. Of course. You treat him different. Hello. We didn't have a cell phone when we were little. They weren't invented. You know, so they hold you accountable and against you for your ignorance. And I said, wow, you know, and both Peggy and I were both married a couple times. And then also, the only thing is she didn't have children, but her business was her, like
Her
Oprah.
baby. Yes.
Her business was her baby.
Yes.
And I respect that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, I mean, home being built in Ghana. You
Yes.
are leaving us next month.
Yes.
And
March 4th.
March 4th.
You go,
Okay.
March,
Right. Oh, it's coming right.
Yep.
It's coming right up. So what is next? You know, you do have these podcasts that you are filming and recording here, but when you do make that move back to Ghana and you settled there, what is next?
Well, I'm going to still do the podcast.
Okay, great.
Internationally. I will be bicycling my shows, especially based on the funding that I may get. I'll be bicycling my shows here to Pasadena Media, because you don't have to be a producer here to bicycle your shows here.
Okay, great.
And I'll be coming back, requirement because of my pension and insurance, I'll be coming back once every 6 months.
Great. Okay.
So with podcasts being so easy, I can whip out 12 shows in a month.
Right.
You know, fly to New York, see my mother, podcast from there. So mine is not a business. It seems like it's a passion, and it's never, ever. Won't be in a senior home, be in the village, you know, doing the same thing.
Yes.
But at a different, like you say, reinvent yourself every 4 years. I'm going to tell you that. Reinvent yourself. They do it with the computers.
Yes,
They do it with your cars.
Yes.
We need to reinvent ourselves every 4 years, because you have that passion, but it's going to change as you age.
Right, right. Yeah. So how can we support your work?
Prayer, number one. If not a dime comes in, that's what kept me alive.
Yes.
That's what kept me going, because there's times when I wanted to give up, not only on Smile, but life, because it would take a whole thing to just tell you. But money is good. I even had a nonprofit, but I didn't like the control that people had.
Okay.
But from the heart, and trusting me to know that I will be investing this in their children's future, and my title there will be America to Africa instead of Africa to America.
Yes.
Building a legacy for our future.
Wonderful.
And so basically it would be for camera, computers, as I travel around the different countries in Africa, getting their stories, and hopefully finding the roots of my family, but others, and tell them how to. I want to be an expatriate advisor. I want to get a notary. I want to go to film school there in Africa. So I even know the type of cars they told me to get when I'm there. So on my same pension, I can afford to have a chef and a driver and this, and my house built.
Yes.
I can't even afford here.
Right.
Homeless. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yes.
Unbelievable. I'm quote unquote, I know I'm a queen. Nothing, treated like nothing here.
Here, yeah.
And a queen there. And when I came back, I guess people say, if she don't shut up talking about Africa, Africa, Africa. But when you get treated like royalty and a queen for the first time in your life, and you come back to being treated like you're the second-class citizen, you can't accept it.
Right.
I'm going to walk in like I'm royalty, because that's what they told me. And, you know, it's like, you cannot go from steak and go ahead and eat that Spam.
Yeah.
Come on now. Okay, sorry, vegetarian. Let's see. Eggplant. And go eat that.
So what is one thing that you would like to impart upon anyone viewing that may be pursuing their passion, maybe thinking about, what am I going to do next? How am I going to transition? What would be a little bit of advice in our last little bit of time here together that you would like to impart upon them?
Most importantly, do the research for yourself. Don't do it just because of the, return to, the year return. Know that. Find out what you want to do, what you love doing so much you would do it even if you did not get paid. That's going to keep you going. And then number 3, I don't care where it is, in Africa, wherever you think you're from, do it. I think you should go out of the continent at least once while you can, and learn different cultures. And if you can't go out, you're afraid of flying or whatever, go to a different church, go to Chinatown, go to Little Tokyo, Little Ethiopia, immerse yourself into somebody else's culture. I took in an exchange student, which is awesome. Now I have an open invitation to Rome.
Right.
So once I get settled, I'm going to go to Rome, Tanzania. I'm going to go here, different places. So, this next layover will be London, Paris. I've never stopped there yet. It was, Amsterdam and New York, but I'll be going to London for the first time this time. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So, and love to fly, love
Yes.
change. Keep your mind open like a parachute. It works best when it's open.
Well, it has been such a pleasure to have you. I appreciate you being my first guest
Thank
on Jasiriously
you.
Speaking.
Ooh, thank you.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you for your smile.
Of course, yes. So this has been Jasiriously Speaking. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.